Welcome back. I am Leslie O'Hare. My next guest is Mary Mullenhoff. Mary, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Leslie. I really appreciate it. Actually, when I read the whole introduction and heard about your program, I'm like, this is exactly what we do, in the Women Founders Network. So I really am very happy that we found each other somehow. So thank you
I,
for having me.
I am happy as well, especially with it being Women's History Month. I just thought that it was such a great opportunity to have you on the show and really talk about all the wonderful things that you all do at the Women Founders Network. I mentioned earlier that you're on the board of directors and you're the co-chair for their youth education committee, where you really assist high school girls, the next gen investors. You also have a program for college women that's called the Due Diligence Analysts. Can you please tell us a little bit more about the Women Founders Network and exactly what you do?
Yes, thank you. So the reason the Women Founders Network came to be is because, and it's still a problem, but less than 2% of venture capital money goes to women-founded businesses. And so Daria, who is the founder of Women Founders Network, decided, that this was a mission that was important and really worth going after. So the purpose of the organization is really to help women to be educated on how do you do a pitch deck, how do you attract investors. And so over the years this was happening and we were like getting it going, and then Daria had another great idea. What if we can start with these girls when they're younger to learn about how to do how to evaluate a business, how to want to be an entrepreneur. If they have the ability to buy a business, how would you evaluate it? And so that's kind of where this entity, this part of the business got started. So we have three audiences that we support: the women founders. So, like, for example, coming pretty soon, they're going to be able to fill out applications. We usually get about 180 or so women founders who apply to the fast pitch program. Mm-hmm. And what happens with the fast pitch program is they get a coach, they get financial guidance on how to position their company so that somebody wants to invest in them. And for the next few months, they're going to be getting that support. But the 180 won't get it. Only the top 10 finalists get it. So were you going to ask me something?
I was. No, you're fine.
Okay.
I wanted to also talk about the difference in the due diligence analyst program and the junior venture capitalist program that you have for girls that are in 9th to 12th grade. What really is the difference, and what is your goal and objectives with those two programs as far when you talk about the next generation of investors?
Okay. So, but I will just finish what I was saying by saying there's 10 finalists. So the junior judges of adult women looking for funding, the junior judges, these high school girls, then are given a $5,000 grant that they could award to one of these 10 finalists. And during the process of like the next 3 or 4 months, they're going to really learn about what that's like. So they're going to have a coach personally, all of the high school girls, who's going to teach them. It's an actual venture capitalist who's going to teach them how does she decide what company she's going to go after. So the high school girls, that's going to be their focus, is to be a judge, a junior judge, to look at a company the way a venture capitalist would, and then to be able to, at the fast pitch, award whichever company they decide on that $5,000 grant. Now, the due diligence analysts are these college women who are essentially, they could be in any major. They just have to be from, basically a freshman in college. They could even be in a master's program. And what it does is allows them to, so these 10 finalists, each of the due diligence analysts will get assigned one of these companies, and they will have the ability and learn how to really evaluate a company as if they were a due diligence analyst at a venture capital firm. So the two roles are different. Go ahead.
And so, can you tell us a little bit about when we talk about the ecosystem for women and the sustainability in businesses, how do we make that ecosystem to be nurtured and to make it sustainable when we talk about women in business?
Um, the sustainable, can you tell me more about where
So as far
you're,
as the ecosystem, the sustainability, when you're working with the women in high school girls and you're educating them on investing, whether to become a founder or a funder of a company, how do you really make that sustainable for them so that when they get in their businesses, they're able to move forward and continue to be successful based on the tools and strategies that the Women Founders Network has empowered them with?
okay, I understand. So essentially what happens is like with the junior venture capitalists, they have a series of webinars, educational webinars where they get to meet the CEO. And so like, for example, they'll meet 2 or 3 CEOs who started from scratch and took their company, like Ellen, the founder of Mendocino Farms, was one of the speakers. She was amazing. And what she did was explain to them, here's how I got started. Here's where some of the hiccups I had along the way. Here's how I overcame them. Here's how I finally sold my business. Here's what that meant to me. And these girls get to ask all the questions they want about it. Like, well, what do you do if, you think you're failing, or, who do you go to for help? And you see from the types of questions these girls are asking and the fact that they have access to somebody who's actually doing it, they see themselves in that. And so I think that's how it creates the ecosystem, is that they maybe in the past didn't think that this is something they could do. Suddenly they see it as a way to do it. And I think that's one of the things that over time we see these girls wanted to come back year after year, and then pretty soon they're in high school and they're starting their own businesses. And it's really kind of an amazing thing, and it's so satisfying.
That is amazing. That is completely amazing. You touched upon a point a few minutes ago that only 2% of startups being funded are women-owned companies. And I know that you all are working very hard to increase that percentage so that women are able to have the option to get more venture capital for their businesses. What are some of the strategies and initiatives that the Women Founders Network is really implementing to increase or help to increase funding for women?
So the program itself, the whole purpose of our program is to give these women-founded businesses a platform, right? So they are going to, this is in October, we're going to have a fast pitch competition. And at this fast pitch competition, all 3 of our audiences will get involved, right? The women founders who are getting information and learning, mentorship on how to do their pitch. And these are 5-minute pitches. In 5 minutes, they have to be able to, tell their whole story in a way in which it's compelling to these investors to want to invest in them. We bring the investors to the meetings. They then have to sell themselves. So we're not creating like a whole new market for them, other than we're getting them ready so that they can actually, get that money on their own. They're gonna, be able to on their own do it, but we prepare them for it.
Now, the fast pitch competition, like you said, is in October. So have you ever run up against a student, a young lady, that is a little bit on the fence, whether she wants to be a founder, whether she wants to be a funder, whether she's even interested in being an entrepreneur? How do you handle that situation when some of the girls that you work with, they come up against challenges and setbacks on their way to the path of being successful?
So it's great because some of them are starting, as I mentioned to you now, right? They start looking at these programs and then they say, oh, I have an idea, I want to start. And what's great is we create a safe environment for them to fail, right? Because let's face it, it's not an easy thing to do. Right. And so the fact that they have these resources available to them, when you look at the mentors that we provide, so companies can either make donations or they can do in kind. And in kind basically means that, attorneys are donating their, legal hours. The accountants are donating their time. And so as a result, they basically have kind of like a place where they can go, like a lab, so to speak, without calling it an incubator, in which they could ask questions, try stuff out, and really just decide. I mean, you don't have to be one or the other either. You can be an investor that then sold your company, made, or an entrepreneur sold your company, made so much money, you then became an investor,
Right.
and then started a new company. So you don't have to pick one or the other. You can be both. And I think one of the beautiful things about this program is that it gives everybody that possibility. And like, for example, when the fast pitch winners, there are two winners. There's one in the CPG category and there's one in technology category, and they each winner gets a $25,000 grant that they don't know anybody. They don't have to give
Exactly.
up any equity for it. They just get that, and then they get the 5,000 from the junior judges.
Well, I think
And
that's
it's
awesome that they're able to get the 5,000 and that you all are very instrumental in how your program and organization works to help them. We need more programs out there because, this is a time of women empowerment, of course, exactly. And so I'm always saying that to women, and we have to be strong and we have to believe in ourselves and know that we can accomplish any goal. And so I want to thank you and the entire team at Women's Founders Network for all the great work that you do. If you all would like to know more about the Women's Founders Network as well as about the Fast Pitch competition coming up in October, please log on to their website at thewomenfoundersnetwork.org. Mary, thank you so much for being a guest here on the show today. It was very nice meeting you. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'll be sitting down with Chandrika Davis, the Community Director with Hello Just. Back in a moment.